Jacolby Criswell is back at Carolina?
You don't want none! You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel. And in this huddle, baby, we're going to talk about something that is extremely intriguing. It's head-scratching and that I don't quite know what to make of it, but we're going to talk about it anyway, bro. And that's the return of Jacolby Criswell to the North Carolina Tar Heels from Arkansas. Now, most people know Jacolby from his time battling Drake May in the spring of 2022 for that vacant quarterback position after Sam Howell entered the NFL draft. It was apparently a good quarterback battle, according to the coaching staff at the time, which ultimately led to Drake May being handed the keys to that beautiful Carolina blue car, and the rest is history. Obviously, Drake was drafted as the number 3 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft, so I would say, obviously, that Carolina must have gotten that thing stinking right. But Jacolby goes back to Arkansas to play for his home state. Couple of years pass. Carolina needs another scholarship quarterback due to Tad Hudson entering the portal, and completely out of nowhere, Jacolby Criswell says he's coming back to the University of North Carolina. I was almost as shocked that this was actually a thing, that it was actually happening. I was almost as shocked and perplexed by this news as I was when we found out that Jeff Collins was hired as Carolina's defensive coordinator. It was just kind of out from left field, if you will. I knew that Jacolby had entered the transfer portal a couple weeks ago, if you will, but I had no inclination like that this would actually be something that would transpire. He would come back to Carolina, man. So, I mean, good night. It's just like how I felt when I was given the information that Jeff Collins was hired as Carolina's defensive coordinator. It was kind of like one of those like what? You kind of had to sit down and think about it for a second. And now it's like, okay, I understand the hire. I'm excited about the hire, et cetera, et cetera. Don't lie. Who in the world saw Jeff Collins being hired as a stinking defensive coordinator at Carolina? But let's recap Jacolby and refamiliarize ourselves with a guy that many believed could have easily been the starting quarterback when Drake won the position. Now, Jacolby Criswell is a 6'1", 230-pound former 4-star recruit out of Morrilton, Arkansas, in the class of 2020. As a prospect, he was the 11th ranked dual-threat quarterback in his class, and he had a 90 rating according to 247 Sports. 247 painted Criswell as the 81st best quarterback in the transfer portal and the number 997 overall portal guy, and they now list him as a 3-star with an 85 rating. Criswell played in 11 games in Carolina Blue over the course of his 3 seasons in Chapel Hill, where he completed 58% of his passes for 204 yards, and I think he rushed for 40-something yards as well. Now, last season, Criswell appeared in 4 games for the Razorbacks, where he completed 63% of his passes for 143 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Now, what's interesting about this to me is that when Coach Mack Brown conducted his post-spring ball interview, he alluded to the fact that Carolina needed another quarterback, but it was going to be hard to find someone in the portal that was looking to provide depth, because most guys entering the portal look for PT, right? Playing time. And he expressed that he was confident that he had 2 quarterbacks that the Heels could win games with. This was his quote. "You've got 2 that are competing for a starting job. It gets confusing if somebody wants to come in and be the starter. Do you want a young one, a transfer that's going to have a chance to grow and start? Usually, if a guy is leaving, It's because he's not starting. So it's not an easy task to find someone, end quote. Now, does Jacolby Criswell believe that he can learn the playbook, overcome the lost time that he had in the spring, and win the University of North Carolina's QB1 job? I am literally trying to justify in my mind why you would leave your home state and come back to a school, be behind the power curve, unless you legitimately believe you have an opportunity to play or win the job. Or is it that Criswell has accepted his fate and he simply wants to finish the degree that he started at Carolina? Now, I personally think that's stinking preposterous, right? Drake got the keys back in 2022. He sat there for a year. He transferred out knowing that Drake was going to be back and he wanted to play. Well, who does he sit behind at Arkansas? Another really good stinking quarterback, right? KJ Jefferson. Okay, so he sits behind him, and now apparently in the spring, he's like, hey, man, I'm not going to get any stinking burn. Let me go back over here to Carolina because I think I can compete. And I really believe that Jacolby Criswell is coming back with the idea that he's going to compete for the starting job. And I'm sure that Coach Mac Brown informed him, hey, we're going to give you a shot. We're going to give you a fair shake, bro. Now, Coach has watched Jacolby practice, obviously, right? He spent 3 years in Chapel Hill. He knows what Jacolby Criswell brings to the table. The question, however, is, can he really come in and take the job after Max Johnson and Connor Harrell have been in this system, if you will, for an entire stinking spring? Hell, Connor Harrell's been here, under Chip Lindsey. This is his year 2, right? So he's been here for a while. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, okay? I'm excited. I mean, I really think that this is about as good as you could have asked for in a predicament that Carolina found itself in with Max Johnson, Connor Harrell, Tad Hudson hitting the portal, and then you got a true freshman as your third stringer, Michael Merdinger. And now all of a sudden you have a former fairly high 4-star coming back that was competing with Drake May, and now all of a sudden he's a Tar Heel again? And you remember, initially you were saying that you were looking for somebody to fill a depth spot. There's no way that Jacolby Criswell is coming back with the idea that I'm going to be a third teamer, bro. I'm telling you, man, I just don't believe that's the case. This was the same guy that was in a battle with the 2024 number 3 overall pick. Now, how legitimate was that battle? I think they probably had a fairly good idea of who was going to be the starter well before they mentioned it, right? So I'm not comparing Jacolby Criswell necessarily to Drake May. I think that Drake May was obviously the better quarterback, but Jacolby did get some comparisons, if you will, to a Sam Howell type player. And so, I mean, you guys remember, man, Sammy was a stinking good player, and I personally think he was still drafted way too stinking low, despite what happened in his junior campaign. So this just adds another dimension of chaos when stinking Jacolby Criswell gets back to the hill and he starts competing, man. So we definitely got to stay tuned to this stinking storyline, Tar Heel Nation. Just when you thought that we kind of had everything figured out, right? It's either going to be Connor or Max. You throw in somebody who at one time was competing for the starting job with the number 3 overall NFL draft pick, man. So it's just a crazy world of NIL, the transfer portal. It's just all of that wrapped up, bro, and it just hits you like a stinking whirlwind. This is crazy to me. It's crazy, but I stinking love it. And I'm really excited to watch Jacolby come in, see how quickly he can pick things up, and see if he can actually make a legitimate vie, if you will, for that QB1 position, man. So definitely stay tuned to this storyline, Tar Heel Nation. Just when you thought that we had everything figured out, it's either Connor or Max. And all these people are saying that Connor won the spring, but Max has all the experience. It's going to be one of those thinking too. In comes Jacolby Criswell saying, not so fast, my friend. Not if I have anything to say about it. That's super stinking interesting, man. So comment down in the comment section how you feel about this news, man. Let's stinking chop it up down here. I want to hear what Tar Heel Nation has to say about Jacolby Criswell, the former 4-star, coming back to Carolina. If you haven't already, baby, like, share, subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate all my Huddle hooligans who helped me keep the lights on, man. We'll catch you on the next one, Tar Heel Nation.